something that I really noticed with all three of you is you didn't really take, the normal route to success. So maybe for you, Jacob, you worked as a bouncer, trying to work your way through to engineering school. How did your work as a bouncer help you do what you do today?
Actually, it helped me a lot more than you would imagine, because you really have to when you're at the door, you have to make a decision on how a certain person could be inside, right? So you really have to learn how to read people. And today, I really need that when I talk to especially politicians or people with a lot of power. You need to be able to read these people, to say the right things, to be able to sell the project, to make an impact. So for me, it was also a little bit more the dark side of society, and you learn a lot from that, because you see things that you normally don't see. And I take that with me even today. So for me, it was a great lesson being a bouncer for so long.
I can imagine, the dark side of society. And how about for you, Arash? I mean, we can call you a music school dropout. How has the system saying no to you, or you saying no to the system, because it's one of the two, how has that made you sort of fiercer to really make a change?
Oh, wow, that's a good question. Are you allowed to say I don't know? It is. So what I learned in music is basically everything that I am applying right now. Because I studied jazz in conservatory, which is all about sense and response, to be in the moment, to be in connection with one another, and then make something out of it. Yeah. And then I dropped out, which means that I basically threw away my chances for a diploma, so my chances for a regular job. So what are my chances then? I could go entrepreneuring, so I went entrepreneuring. And that's also a sense and response system. And somehow I dropped out of entrepreneuring also. I was semi-successful, and then I had a bankruptcy, and then I had to learn again and learn again. But that's how you live. And so it's being in the moment. But it's also, please, don't take the lessons that you learn for granted, and try and be able to put them in another perspective. Because what I learned in music is applicable to energy. Energy is also about vibration. It's about frequencies. It's about harmonizing frequencies. Literally, when we design networks, we're doing that. So we're making music, literally. Yeah. So it's also the application of what you learn in whatever you do. Yeah. And bring that to whatever fits your mission.
And do you feel maybe for you also, Ida, that creativity is often overlooked when we're looking at the massive challenges that we have today?
I mean, as you pointed out, I think music, to be able to work with any art form, brings you to a mindful state where you're completely present in the moment. Painting or playing music or singing, you are so present. And that's something I always wanted to work in. I thought I was going to be working as an artist, painting. And my teacher in school always said that aim to do something that puts you in the flow state. And to me, that was art, and then it became music. So, yeah, I think it's very important to find your flow state and your mindful place in this world, because I suppose our culture is very mindless, and we're all kind of put in to run this rat race and compete against each other. And yeah, if you can break free from that and do something that is mindful, it's a beautiful thing.
Amazing. And the theme is we're talking about tech, and I think that the two of you at least have talked about technology in the most basic sense of the word, but you've also both talked about economic systems change, the judicial sort of system in the case of Steven Donziger, but you also Absolutely. With politics. So should we be focusing our efforts on technological change or the systems change, or both? Arash, I see you nodding your head.
Yes. So I'm a tech enthusiast. I'm a nerd myself. I mean, I love building stuff. But if it has no context, it's pointless. We need a context to build something in. And what we need now is a systemic change, which means a fundamental change of our notion of economy, our fundamental change of our notion of regulation, of laws, a fundamental change in how we deal with nature, a fundamental change in society and how we are all connected together. And I believe that if we can develop technologies that are in service of that, then that is worthwhile technology. And otherwise, It's a hobby.
And maybe to build on that, because when we look at, say, the funding of tech companies, there are two basic types out there. So a lot of people talk about the unicorns, the companies that have exponential growth and have massive impact and make exponential amounts of money. And then opposed to that are the zebras who are focused more on creating this societal impact, environmental impact, to actually create an impact. And currently a lot of the funding is actually going to these unicorns. Is that a notion any of you would like to challenge?
Well, I think, when you build a company today, and must be different in the past, but if you don't have that societal added value, I think you're out of business in no time. I think I also feel that in the startup world, when I see young entrepreneurs starting businesses, that social input is always there. They want to do something that makes the world a better place. And I think it's the basis of setting up a business. And of course, you will always have people that do it for the money, but I think it's the wrong thing. I think, 95% of startups fail. But I think a lot of startups also fail because they think they're going to become a unicorn. Yeah. I think it's important that, for anybody, that you do something with passion, with your heart. And I think that's something we all do. And that, I think there's the growth. And I think society is changed is very slow, but I'm very positive and hopeful that society will move in that direction and that companies will embrace that societal change that we need for everybody.
Amazing. Does anyone want to add to this? Do you agree, Arash?
Absolutely agree. Yeah, absolutely agree. And it's also, the focus that we have. I see so many entrepreneurs that are doing very hard work. They want to change the world, but also we are being pushed by venture capital, by all these systems, to sell our companies within 5 years for as much money as we can. And that should not be the point of a company. So for myself, I made the decision, our company is not going to be for sale. I have 3,000 witnesses today. And the intellectual properties that we develop are not owned by the company, they're owned by a foundation, which by law, under Dutch law, is ownerless. So that means that we have to govern the intellectual property in such a way that it can maximize its impact on the world and on society rather than maximize the income of a few individuals. Because I'm rich already. I'm rich. I don't need money to be rich. Yeah. My wealth is a type of wealth that cannot be stolen. It's in our hearts. It's in our minds. It's in what we can do with our hands. It's what we can do right here from this stage. That's wealth. It's the books that I've been able to read. So if we consider that to be wealth, then let's leverage that into impact.
Beautiful. Thank you. And I think you've already given the audience your 2 cents, but Ida, is there anything that you would like to ask the audience, maybe to do tomorrow?
Well, I'm not sure if there's anything I would like to ask the audience, but perhaps we were talking a little bit earlier about where we find information, and also to be mindful about that the mainstream media is receiving a lot of money from the oil industry, and the importance of reading independent media such as The Guardian or Mother Jones, who actually have been the only ones reporting about the Stephen Donziger case. So I think, just be mindful about where you
look at neutral media.
Take your, independent media. Yeah, I would say, who don't accept money from big corporations such as the oil industry.
Thank you so much. Thank you, all 3 of you. And I hope these 3, and also Stephen, from the video, have given you the courage to question the status quo and given you the courage to be bold tomorrow. Thank you.